Okay, so January book haul part one. Okay, so I have several books, but I don't have a whole bunch. So this video should be a lot shorter than the other two, other two book haul videos I did. Okay, so we'll just get right into it. These are all books that I got from, let's see. Yeah, Book Outlet. I got these from Book Outlet. The first one is Come Tumbling Down by Shauna McGuire, which is book 5 in the Wayward Children series. I don't remember. Shauna McGuire / Mira Grant is not an author I have enjoyed so far in particular. I read Into the Drowning Deep and hated that book. Absolutely hated it. And then I also read, what was it called? Down Among the Sticks and Bones, which is book 2 in the Wayward series, a children's series, and loved it. I absolutely loved this book. I thought it was so good. And I didn't start with book 1 because I had read on somebody's book, I had seen rather on somebody's BookTube video. I think it might have been that Murphy Napier video. I think I saw, she talked about how if you read book 1, then it would spoil the story that's in book 2. So I thought, and so she recommended that you start with book 2 because she felt like her experience of the book, that she didn't care for it because she already knew what was going to happen from reading book 1. So I read book 2, loved it, and I do plan to go back and get all the books in this series. However, the BookTube, Book Outlet had this one. It was the only one from the series they had, so I wanted to pick that up cheap, of course. So I went ahead and got it, even though it's like book 5 or 6, somewhere in there, because I'll eventually get the other ones as well. Oh, you don't want to put that on my shelf yet. Okay, and then I got more Paper Mill Classics. Very exciting. Okay, so I got the Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, which is one of my very favorite classics. I love the Scarlet Letter. It is so heartbreaking. It is so good. I just really like it. Every time I read it, I think I love it more. And I already have, do I still have 2 copies of it? I did have 2 copies. I think I put one in a little free library and then kept my my vintage edition. But anyway, I have now another edition of this book in the vinyl, because these Paper Mill Classics are all vinyl covers, which I really like the vinyl covers. Plus, it's really pretty. See how pretty that is? Pretty. Okay, and then I got Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. I've never read it. Actually, I say I've never read it. I don't remember ever reading it, but I potentially might have. I'll probably know whether or not I read it when I start reading this copy. It's the only copy I have. I don't have another copy of Oliver Twist, but I potentially could have already read this, because I remember when I was in elementary school, I was reading like all of the old sort of like children's classics like Heidi and like Huckleberry Finn and The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and you know, books like that. And so I could have read this one already and just not remember it. But either way, I'm excited to read it. And then I got oh, I forgot to show you the back and the side and everything. My goodness, what am I thinking? There's the spine. There's the back. And then I got Gulliver's Travels. I'm sure that I have read this. Like, I have a memory of reading this while I was at school, like in the library, because I don't remember how it worked, but I seem to remember in grade school having like these periods of time where you could go to the library and just sit and read. And I don't remember what that was, if it was like a thing we did daily or if it was a thing we did once in a while or something. I don't know. But I remember being in the library and reading, and I read a ton of Choose Your Own Adventure books. I read every Choose Your Own Adventure book that library had. And but I do remember reading some of the classics from the library, while I was in there too. And so I'm certain that I read this one. Like, I have like a memory of actually like thinking about the fact that like all these little tiny Lilliputians had Gulliver like tied down, and that how they were able to overcome him by their sheer numbers and by him not really taking them as a serious threat. He was then subdued in that way. So anyway, I just remember thinking about it as I was reading it. I have a memory, so I'm pretty sure I read this. But like I said, not since elementary school if I did. So I'm definitely excited to reread that, to read this. Show you the cover and the spine and the back. Okay, and then I have Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I love Treasure Island. I'm listening to the audiobook of Treasure Island. I'm almost done with it now. I've been listening to it for like 3 months or something. I don't do well with audiobooks, and so when I have one, it takes me like a few months to get through an audiobook because I'm not super keen on them, and so I usually restrict my audiobooks to rereads. And of course, I've read Treasure Island before, and I absolutely love it. It's like such a good story. I just love it so much. And I do have a copy of this, but it's an old mass market paperback. Like when I was in my early 20s, like Walmart had this sale where they had like a whole bunch of like classics in mass market paperback for like 50 cents or something. And I picked up like a whole bunch of them. And so I have that, and believe me, it's in poor condition. I think I only read it once and it started to fall apart right away. So yeah. So anyway, so I'm glad to have this final edition now in the Paper Mill Classic. Such a good story. If you've never read it, you definitely need to. I absolutely love it. It's really dark and has some serious themes for being a children's story. I loved it when I loved it though. Okay, and then this one is a thriller called I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney. I actually saw this on Todd the Librarian's channel. I think he was talking about this book, I believe is where I saw that. Well, this seems like kind of a strange book for him to be reading, but maybe I'm thinking of the wrong book. I don't know. But anyways, if I don't like it, I'll just put it in the little free library. No big deal. It wasn't that expensive. Ooh, the next book I'm really excited to read. It's called Blindside by Peter Watts. 2 months since the stars fell. 2 months ago, innumerable alien objects surrounded Earth, screaming as they burned their way into our atmosphere. The heavens have been silent since. Now, though, a derelict space probe has heard whispers from a distant comet. Something talks out there, but not us. Who should be sent to find out? Send a linguist with multiple personality disorder. Weird, why would you choose that? And a cyborg biologist who can't feel his own flesh. This is familiar. I probably read this before. The description before. Duh, of course I did. Why else would I have thought it was interesting? Send a pacifist warrior and a vampire resurrected by voodoo of paleogenetics. Send a man missing half his mind since childhood, and pray they can be trusted with the fate of the world, because they may be more alien than the thing they've been sent out to find. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. This has gone up on my to read list. I'm going to be reading this very soon. The next book I got was Vessel by Lisa A. Nicholas. I'm going back to my roots here. As you noticed, my last book calls, there's lots of classics and lots of science fiction. I think I'm kind of over reading horror. I mean, I'm not over it. I do like it. But like, I read so much horror last year that I'm a little burnt up on horror, I think. So I want some science fiction. I think that's why I've been buying up all the science fiction books. So yeah, Vessel by Lisa A. Nichols. I don't remember what this is about. I think this girl gets sent off to look for aliens or something, and everybody dies, and she's the only one that survives, and so they're not sure of why she's come back or anything. Let me look. After astronaut Catherine Wells' ship undergoes a catastrophic event and loses contact with NASA, the entire world believes her to be dead. Miraculously and mysteriously, she survives, though everyone else on the mission is lost, as are most of Catherine's memories of her time in space. Lisa A. Nichols has been a storyteller all her entire life. The very first movie she fell in love with was Star Wars. And the very first books she read were the Little House books. Oh yeah, Little House on the Prairie. I was not a Little House on the Prairie girl. So perhaps it was inevitable that she would wind up writing science fiction with a domestic twist. She lives in Michigan with a tiny, ridiculous dog, too many cats, and a crush on Luke Skywalker that she should have grown out of 30 years ago. That's hilarious. Love that. I like it when they put something about the author. There's the author there. I like it when they put something about the author because, you know, you kind of want to know something about the author. And I hate it when they don't. Okay, now that's the end of my latest book outlet haul. Okay, now this next book I found in the Little Free Library. I hadn't been to the Little Free Libraries for quite some time, and so I made the Little Free Library rounds in my town, or at least the ones I know of. There's like 5 or 6 of them that I know of, and I found one in there that I really liked, and it is Time and Again by Jack Finney. I have never read this book, but I have heard about it before, not on BookTube, but you know, from my past. And so I don't really remember too much about what it was about, except for I think it's a time travel love story, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Mind-boggling, imagination-stretching, exciting romantic entertainment. Sleep. And when you awake, everything you know of the 20th century will be gone from your mind. Tonight is January 21st, 1882. There are no such things as automobiles, no planes, computers, television. Nuclear appears in no dictionary. You have never heard the name Richard Nixon. Did illustrator Cy Morley really step out of his 20th century apartment one night right into the winter of 1882? The U.S. government believed it, especially when Cy returned with a portfolio of brand new sketches and tiny type photos of a world that no longer existed. Or did it? Cool. Yeah, this sounds like a really good book, so I'm really excited to read that. Anyways, I probably won't get to it soon, but sometime. Okay, oh, and then this book I'm really excited about. I will be reading this reasonably soon. It is Sphere by Michael Crichton. I picked that up off of Amazon. I got it for $5, and it's an old hardback, and it's in really good shape. I was really, really pleased with this purchase. Look, there's a young Michael Crichton on the back. So Sphere, yeah, I'm really excited to read this. Okay, and then I ordered Cast, The Oranges of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. I thought this one sounded really good. Again, I don't really go in for these kinds of books, but there have been a lot of them being promoted lately because of the Black Lives Matter movement. And so I've really been able to find some that I'm actually interested in. So yeah, this is one that I'm really interested in reading. I want to read this reasonably soon. I have so many books I want to read reasonably soon. I don't know how soon I'm going to get to any of them, but yeah, this is definitely one that's going really high up on my TBR. Hopefully I can read this by March is what is kind of my goal, to read this book. But yeah, but it's about the racial divide in America. So yeah, I think it looks really good. Okay, and the next book I got, I'm also really excited about. It's called Voracious. A hungry reader cooks her way through great books. So yeah, it's by Cara Nicoletti. And I don't know if I've ever talked about it in any of my videos, but I love to cook. So food is an interest for me. Recipes are an interest. And I actually read my cookbooks, and my favorite kinds are the ones that have a lot of commentary in them. Like this one right here is where the author takes a book and she makes a dish from the book. Let's just start here. The Boxcar Children, that's the book. And the recipe she chooses from the book is chocolate pudding. See, and then she talks about it right here before you even get to the recipe. See, so there's like 2 pages of text before you get to the recipe. So I expect her to be talking about the book, you know what I mean? And about why she chose the recipe from the book. See, I'm really looking forward to this one. And I have a cat trying to get up in the window. I hope she doesn't knock my speakers off. Oh, she didn't. She didn't knock my speakers off. Yay! So anyways, yeah, I thought this book looked really, really good, and I'm really excited to read that. So that's all of this book haul for January. We'll have a second one because I'm going to Kansas City the last weekend of this month. So I plan to hit the bookstores there again, spend a day hitting the bookstores. So I will have more books. So I'll have one more book haul video for January.